It's possible to retire with less money than you'd think. Not everyone needs a multi-six-figure income, 50% savings rate, and two side hustles to retire early. That's certainly not what Lisa, a 42-year-old early retiree, did in order to retire with $600,000 saved. She didn't inherit any money, never invested in real estate, never made a large income, and never worked more than 40 hours per week. Instead, Lisa built her financial freedom the old-fashioned way: steady saving, smart investing, and a simple lifestyle. Lisa spent most of her 20s and 30s working at a W-2 job as an administrative assistant, then office manager. Her earnings weren't huge, usually between $40,000 and $60,000 per year, but the moment she landed her first full-time job in her early 20s, she started investing. At the time, it felt like the money she was putting away might be locked up forever. Retirement seemed so far off that contributing felt almost pointless. It seemed like year after year, the account hardly grew. But Lisa had a clear vision. She didn't want to be stuck grinding away until her 60s, so even though it felt distant and intangible, she committed to building a nest egg early. Over time, Lisa consistently invested an average of $1,000 each month, mostly putting it into a low-cost S&P 500 ETF through her brokerage account. She picked this option because it offered more flexibility than a 401k or Roth IRA, which have limits and rules around withdrawals, and her brokerage account gave her full control over her money. Since she wasn't fully familiar with all the details and restrictions of other accounts, sticking with a brokerage account felt like the simplest choice. Plus, she liked the fact that she could pull it out whenever she wanted. Instead of trying to pick winning stocks or time the market, Lisa kept things simple by investing in the S&P 500. It gave her a fair amount of diversification, came with minimal management fees, and offered solid historical performance, averaging about 10% annually before inflation. It was a low-maintenance, cost-effective way to build long-term wealth without overcomplicating her strategy. To keep things simple and consistent, Lisa set up automatic monthly contributions. Those $1,000 deposits went in like clockwork, rain or shine, for roughly 20 years. Thanks to her discipline and the power of compound interest, her portfolio grew steadily until it hit about $600,000. Lisa was careful with her spending, but never obsessed over saving every last dollar. Her savings rate fluctuated between 20 and 25% depending on her income and expenses at the time, striking a balance between enjoying life and preparing for the future. These days, Lisa's portfolio grows by an average of about 10% per year, roughly $60,000 annually, even without adding any new money. That's 5 times what she used to invest each year while working, and it should be enough to support her annual withdrawals while still allowing the overall value to keep pace with inflation over time. She could have easily let her investments keep growing without adding another dollar, and her portfolio would likely surpass $1 million in about 7 years. But Lisa values a simple, low-stress lifestyle, and for her, early retirement felt like the right trade-off. Throughout her working years, Lisa never bought a house. Instead, she's always rented a modest 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate, which helped keep her living expenses low. She's moved around quite a bit over time, but usually stays in one place for several years. Right now, she pays about $850 a month, utilities included, while her roommate covers the other half. It's less than the median rent in the United States, but only a little bit, and is pretty much in line with her area. This setup has given her affordable housing costs with no property taxes, unexpected repairs, or large down payments to worry about. She has thought about buying a home and having roommates there too, but for now, she's comfortable sticking with renting. Lisa also resisted lifestyle inflation. Even as her income grew, she avoided upgrading to fancier apartments or buying a new car. For transportation, she's always stuck with older, used vehicles, usually ones she could buy outright for less than $10,000. She maintains them well, often keeping a car until it's 20 years old. By doing her part with regular maintenance and basic upkeep, she's avoided most major repairs as well as the steep depreciation that comes with new models. She also keeps insurance costs down and only carries liability insurance when the car is near the end of its life. By cooking at home, vacationing wisely, and keeping her transportation costs minimal, Lisa maintained a practical lifestyle. She wasn't obsessively focused on investing, she just kept her expenses low enough that investing became something she could consistently afford to do. With $600,000 invested and a little bit of cash on the side and checking and savings, Lisa follows the classic 4% withdrawal rule, giving her about $20,000 per year to live on. Thanks to the low-cost habits she built over the years, that amount of money goes a long way. She doesn't need a massive budget to feel comfortable during retirement. In some years, when she wants to splurge on a trip or some new gear, Lisa will sometimes increase her withdrawals to around 5%, a figure still considered reasonable by the original creator of the 4% rule, who has since revised his guidance upward. Her budget looks something like this. Rent and utilities, her half, about $10,000. Groceries and household goods, $3,600. Health insurance, $3,000. Car depreciation, insurance, and maintenance, $2,400. Phone and entertainment, $1,200. Fun, travel, and hobbies, $4,000 to $8,000. These figures go up and down slightly depending on the month and the year, but this is primarily what her spending consists of. Lisa typically doesn't owe any taxes because her income falls within the 0% long-term capital gains bracket when she withdraws from her brokerage account. If her income were higher, she'd have to pay capital gains tax, but at her current level, she doesn't. And if tax laws change down the line, she's ready to adjust, either by withdrawing a bit less or finding other ways to make up the difference. Lisa's retirement isn't about pinching every penny, waiting until she can someday enjoy it. It's about freedom and doing what she enjoys without stressing over money. Each year, she gives herself a flexible budget for travel, hobbies, and fun, usually between $4,000 and $9,000, depending on how the year goes. If her expenses are low, she leans towards the higher end. If something unexpected comes up, like major car repairs, she just dials it back. Most weekends, you'll find her out camping, sometimes at national parks, other times just at a nearby state park with a friend. She keeps it simple with basic gear, makes campfire meals, and enjoys the peace and quiet. For her, it's fun, low cost, and fits her perfectly. She also loves international travel, but not the fancy kind. Lisa's more into slow travel. She'll spend a month in a place like Portugal, Thailand, or Croatia, staying in hostels or house sitting to keep costs down. She shops at local markets, mostly cooks her own food, and gets around by bus or train. It's all about the experience and not the luxury. When she's home, Lisa fills her days with creative hobbies like painting, digital illustration, and experimenting with new art styles. She occasionally sells prints online through platforms like Etsy, not to build a business, but just because she enjoys sharing her work. It brings in a bit of fun money now and then, but more than anything, it keeps her creatively fulfilled and gives her a sense of purpose without the pressure of a deadline. Separately from her art, Lisa keeps the door open to part-time virtual assistant work, not because she needs to, but because she likes the flexibility. A couple of hours here and there, managing emails, calendars, or doing light admin work for small business clients she already knows well. Some months, she skips it entirely. Other times, she'll bring in a few $100s. It's not a core part of her financial strategy, just a flexible backup she can lean on when she wants to. It takes some of the pressure off her investment portfolio and gives her the freedom to say yes to opportunities she might otherwise have to skip. Lisa doesn't plan to start collecting Social Security until she's eligible, but she isn't counting on it to play a major role in her retirement. Since she left the workforce early, her benefits will be pretty small, so her plan is to continue living off her investment portfolio. If and when the Social Security checks start coming in, they'll just be a nice bonus, at which point she can increase her spending if she wants. Lisa's story shows that you don't need a massive income to retire early, just consistent habits and a lifestyle that fits your values. Lisa made it work by keeping housing costs low with roommates, driving older used cars she maintained well, and spending intentionally on things she actually enjoyed, like camping and international travel. These choices freed up money to invest without feeling deprived. A key part of her strategy is flexibility. By leaving the door open to take on part-time virtual assistant work, she gives herself a cushion, a way to ease up on portfolio withdrawals when needed. Even though she typically only works a few hours per week, she could ramp it up to 20 or 30 hours if necessary. That extra income could help her grow her investments, boost future withdrawal potential, or simply act as a buffer during uncertain times. This is all possible even on a modest income, without long hours, extraordinary luck, or decades of penny pinching.